Good morning, students. This is part 2. Come to page number 31, fifth paragraph. Then he sold his piano and let the mice live in a bureau drawer, but the money he got for that too began to go. So he sold the brown suit he wore on Sundays and went on becoming poorer and poorer. And now, when he walked down the street in his high hat, people would say to one another, "There goes John Dolittle, MD." There was a time when he was the best known doctor in the West Country. Look at him now. He hasn't any money and his stockings are full of holes. But the dogs and the cat and the children still ran up and followed him through the town, the same as they had done when he was rich. Turn your page. It happened one day that the doctor was sitting in his kitchen talking with the cat meat man who had come to see him with a stomach ache. Why don't you give up being a people's doctor and be an animal doctor? Asked the cat meat man. The parrot Polynesia was sitting in the window looking out at the rain and singing a sailor's song to herself. She stopped singing and started to listen. You see, doctor, the cat meat man went on. You know all about animals, must more than what these here West do. That book you wrote about cats, why it's wonderful. I can't read or write myself, or maybe wouldn't write I didn't write some books, but my wife, Thorinicia, she's a scholar, she is, and she read your book to me. Well, it's wonderful. That's all can be said wonderful. You might have been a cat yourself. You know the way they think and listen. You can make a lot of money doctoring animals. Do you know that? You see, I would send all the old women who had sick cats or dogs to you, and if they didn't get sick fast enough, I could put something in the meat and I sell them to make them sick. She. Oh no, said the doctor quickly. You must not do that. That wouldn't be right. Oh, I didn't mean real sick, answered the cat meat man. Just a little something to make them droppy like. What was what I had refers to. But as you say, maybe it isn't quite fair on the animals, but they will get sick anyway because the old woman always give them too much to eat. And look, all the farmers round about who had lame horses and weak lambs, they would come be an animal doctor. When the cat's meat man had gone, the parrot flew off the window onto the doctor's table and said, "That man's got sense. That's what you ought to do. Be an animal doctor. Give the silly people up if they haven't brains enough to see you are the best doctor in the world. Take care of animals instead. They will soon find it out. Be an animal doctor." So Dr. Dolittle was getting poorer and poorer. And since why? Because his earning became to be less to survive. He had has to sold his piano and let the mice live in a bureau drawer. But that money was also finished. Then what happened? He sold his brown suit, which he used to wear on Sundays. But nothing got stopped him from getting poorer and poorer. So now people seeing him outside said that once he used to be a good doctor, but now he had no money left at his stocking was also torn. One day, Cat Meat Man came to him with a stomach ache and he suggested him to give up being a people's doctor and become an animal doctor. A parrot Polynesia was also there. So why the cat meat man think that Dr. Doolittle could become a good animal doctor? Because his wife read a book which was written by Dr. Doolittle, and the book was all about cats and book was wonderfully written. Cat Meat Man said, Dr. Doolittle have the power to understand the feeling of animals so well that he should give up being a human doctor and start taking care of animals. All people with their sick pets come to him, and this proposal was also supported by Polynesia Doolittle Parrot. Oh, there are plenty of animals, doctors, said John Dolittle, putting the flower pots outside on the window sill to get the rain. Yes, there are plenty, said Polynesia, but none of them are any good at all. Now listen, doctor, and I will tell you something. Did you know that animals can talk? I knew that parrots can talk, said the doctor. Oh, we parrots can talk in two languages, people's language and bird language, said the Polynesia proudly. If I say Polly wants a cracker, you understand me, but hear this, Kaka, oi, e, fifi. Good gracious, cried the doctor, what does that mean? That means, is the porridge hot yet? In bird language. My, you don't say so, said the doctor. You never talked that way to me before. What would have been the good, said Polynesia, dusting some cracker crumbs off her left wing. You would not have understood me if I had. Tell me some more, said the doctor, all excited, and he rushed over to the dresser drawer and came back with a butcher's book and a pencil. Now don't go too fast, and I will write it down. This is interesting. Very interesting. Something quite new. Give me the birds ABC first, slowly now. So that was the way the doctor came to know that animals had a language of their own and could talk to one another. And all that afternoon, while it was raining, Polynesia sat on the kitchen table giving him bird words to put down in the book. So that was the way doctor came to know that animals had a language of their own and could talk to another animal, one and another. And all that afternoon, while it was raining, Polynesia sat on the kitchen table giving him birds' words, which is written on the book. So that day, the doctor came to know that animals had their own language and they communicate or interact with other animals. Throughout the evening, while it was raining, Polynesia gave all birds and words, and what Dolittle did, he noted down in his notebook. At tea time, when the dog Chip came in, the parrot said to the doctor, she is talking to you? Looks to me as though he was scratching his ears, said the doctor. Scratching means rubbing a part of one's body with one's nails. But animals don't always speak with their mouths, said the parrot in a high voice, raising her eyebrows. They talk with their ears, with their feet, with their tails, with everything. Sometimes they don't want to make a noise. Do you see now the way he's stretching up one side of his nose? Stretching means causing to move in a specified direction with a sudden pull. What's that mean? Asked the doctor. So now, yes, it's a very important thing that animal can now speak always. They show the sign gesture. They show gesture in order to communicate. We human can talk, but sometimes we fail to understand some animals want or what the desire, what they desiring. So once dog Jip came and trying to show some gesture, he was scratching his ears and the doctor could not pick up dog is trying to say. So what Polynesia said that every time is not necessary that animals will speak only. They can do some gesture. You have to understand what they wanting. That means, can't you see that it had stopped raining? Polynesia answered. He is asking you a question. Dogs nearly always use their nose for asking questions. After a while, with the parrot's help, the doctor got to learn the language of the animals so well that he could talk to himself and understand everything they said. Then he gave up being a people's doctor altogether. As soon as the cat meat man had told everyone that John Dolittle was going to become an animal doctor, old ladies began to bring him their pet pugs and poodles who had eaten too much cake, and farmers came many miles to show him sick cows and sheep. That means, so what happened by Polynesia helped the doctor got to learn the animal language and he became an expert on that. He could able to communicate by himself only now and finally he gave up being a people's doctor and became an animal doctor. So students, I hope all of you understand the chapter well. Thank you, stay safe and keep learning.